Welcome, everyone, to tonight's Pillars of Success call. I'm Sarah Smith, coming in from Liberty, Utah. And tonight's call, I'm super excited because, as we are, kind of business folks with this, with LifeVantage, as we're building our business, as we're kind of stepping into finding success, there are a couple of pillars of belief that need to be in place for us to feel really good getting out there, sharing this information. And one of the pillars is, belief in the industry, belief in the company, belief in ourself, and also belief in the products. And tonight we are going to take a deep dive into belief in the product, which is really exciting because 12 years ago, my husband and I were introduced to LifeVantage, and we were blown away. Like, we were in a health crisis. We were not looking for a business. We simply needed to heal. And I think many of us who are here tonight, many of us who were first introduced to LifeVantage, it might have been through a product and it could have been through a business, but we were blown away by the science, by the technology, and really what we had our hands on. Um, and basically, like, I get to introduce one of our mentors, somebody who's been with this company. He and his wife Marcy, Dr. Dondee Nettles. We're gonna kind of do a Q&A tonight. And then we're going to hear from three healthcare professionals that are currently on our team, and to share a little bit about their activation story, in regards to the GLP-1, in regards to some of our key activators. And I love running these calls because I learn every single time something brand new. So if you're brand new to this call, I know we have guests on here, we have people leaning in to learn a little bit more. This is a great forum to, one, kind of feel the culture of our team, but also to really dive in and learn about our technology, our new products that are coming out, and just we're focusing tonight on hearing from Dr. Dondee Nettles. He is part of our science advisory team. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight him, and I'm going to spotlight me so I can kind of do a Q&A here. And I'm excited I get to share the screen with this gentleman who is a wealth of knowledge. You guys, Dondee and Marcy have been with the company since the ribbon cutting back in 2009, when we were actually sitting on the shelves retail, and really saw the vision right from the start, and is one of the most consistent, committed leaders and kind of doctors that we know of in this company. And we're fortunate enough that we get to hear from him tonight. And really, my goal is to just to ask Dondee a couple of questions, hear a little bit about his background, and really kick this call off in regards to our latest product. But I want you to go back for me, Dondee, and share with everybody here, your professional background, why you said yes to LifeVantage. Like, what was it that you saw when you were first introduced to this, and kind of, bring us, up to speed. And I'll go through and kind of cue you in on the questions, but I'm just honored and grateful that you're here tonight. So thank you so much for sharing your time. This man is busy, and he made time for us, and we really appreciate it. So take it away, Dr. Nettles.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So, well, my professional background is I've been a chiropractor for the last 26 years, and my passion in that endeavor is to educate people and literally empower them to be their own health advocates. And so when I got involved with LifeVantage, I will tell you in full transparency, it was very reluctantly. And because I wasn't looking for another way of making a living, I wasn't looking for an additional income stream. And had I been, I certainly wouldn't have picked network marketing, because I had a very, very strong disdain for network marketing. And not because I had ever tried it. I just, A, didn't know anybody who ever did try it that was successful. And B, I didn't like the approach of the people that ignored all the no soliciting signs in my building, especially the one on the door right above the doorknob in my practice. They still came in. And so I really wanted nothing to do with network marketing, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And I was praying for a way to be a stay at home, or at least spend a lot more time with my kids than I was spending. And that was zero. I had a 3-year-old son and a newborn daughter that I literally never saw due to the demands of my practice and my radio show. I was an AM talk radio host for a few years on 2 different AM stations here in Phoenix, and as well as running a very busy practice. So I never had time to be a dad to my kids, despite the fact I had a 40% pediatric practice. And I was seeing other people's kids while my kids were at home wondering where daddy was. And so I was very reluctant into this, but why I said yes was because I was offered a plane ticket by LifeVantage to come take a look at this opportunity before it went into or out of retail into network marketing. That was really why I was pitched to help bring it into network marketing. But I was given a plane ticket and I went very, very deliberately to tell LifeVantage and specifically Dr. McCord, because they said I would be having lunch with Dr. McCord, that he made a big mistake in the product LifeVantage's Pro Tandem because by putting it in a capsule form or a tablet form when they should have put it in a liquid. And I went very, very well prepared for that confrontation. So much so that I called him Joe. I didn't even call him, I didn't even, that was how, number one, that's how bullheaded I was and how against network marketing I was. I called him Joe. I didn't even have the respect to call him Dr. McCord. And I said, why did you pick the worst possible delivery system if this product is so great? And mind you, I was already having tremendous success on the product, and so was many of my patients, but I didn't want him to know that. I was playing hard to get, I guess you could say. And he schooled me very, very successfully. And he said it very simply. He said, what you don't understand, and it's very clear that you don't by your question, is the benefits of Protandim are not in the bottle. It's not a supplement. And he didn't mention activator until that conversation. And I didn't even know what an activator was. We weren't talking about it being an activator. We were talking about it reducing oxidative stress. He said the benefits of a supplement are in the bottle, but the benefits of an activator are in your body. That actually happens by taking what's in the bottle. And that was a big departure of understanding for me. And he said, so to answer your question, the reason why it's in a tablet is because that's all it takes. And all it takes is one tablet for every person. Doesn't matter if they're 50 pounds or 500 pounds. There's no such thing as dosage, which would make sense. And I was telling him about bioavailability. It needs to be bioavailable. He said it would need to be if it was dose specific, but it's not. That's the difference between an activator and a supplement. And so when I heard that, and I didn't have a rebuttal for it, I certainly didn't have an answer for it. I just trusted him. And I was like, well, I'm already getting the benefits of my practice. I'm already seeing it. So maybe there really is something to this. So that's how I got involved. I'm actually distributor number 114 in the entire
Wow.
company of the first 150 people that were invited to take a look at it. And I'm I'm so glad that I said yes. And I'm so glad that Dr. McCord was polite with me, even though I was being rude to him, because it made all the difference in the world. I left that weekend as the 114th distributor, and I've been here for the last 15 and a half years.
That's amazing. Well, we appreciate kind of your history with the company and kind of what you saw, because I think a lot of people in the beginning, they aren't sure about network marketing. They aren't sure, about, kind of the science behind the product. So this is really great. So we are the activation company. Like that is what LifeVantage is. So, for those of you that are kind of taking a peek in, like what is your definition of activation and how does this set us apart in the industry, Dr. Nettles?
Great question. And I'm going to give you kind of a spin off of Dr. McCord's definition because I'm not the author of it. He explained it very, very simply. And so as an activation company, this is the interesting thing. We actually have supplements. We do make supplements like this one, or this was the original version of our multi PM. So this is a supplement. The benefit of this product is actually in the bottle. But here's something maybe none of you have seen for a while. This is an actual original bottle, full bottle of the original Pro Tandem. I got this from Paul Myhill probably
Cool.
12 years ago. This is what it looks like on ABC Primetime. But this is the activation is in the bottle, but it actually happens inside our body. So the whole premise of this and why we're the activation company is we are the only activation company. We are the only fish in a very big, very deep, very lonely blue ocean. But that's not going to remain the same for a while. When other companies do come out with activators and when they do come out with activating pharmaceuticals, the world's attention is going to be drawn to us. So we are the only player in the game literally right now. Now we do make supplements and that's not what I'm talking about, but we are the only activation company. And when we can no longer say that, when we will always be first. That is literally where our strength comes from. We will always be first in this game, in which we will always be the direct comparison to everything else that comes after us. And we have a 20-year head start. We have 28 studies that are published in peer-reviewed medical journals that give us a head start. We have multiple patents, and we're over a $250 million company. So not only are we first, we have a head and shoulders head start above everyone else, but we've also got a proven track record. And we're a debt-free company, and we're on the NASDAQ. So every possible way somebody could look at this company as it relates or compares to others, when others do enter into the activation game, we are still the first, and we are the only right now activation company. But why that's so critically important is because it equips and gives our body ammunition to be its best based on its original design, its genetic design, and the products we give it. And that's what I love about LifeVantage, is because we are the activation company. We will remain the activation company. And when other companies join us, we will be the first activation company, and no one can ever take that away from us.
Yeah, that's so powerful. That's why we're still here. That's why
Yeah.
for those that are just joining the company too, this is really an amazing time to be here because we are first, but we also have just an incredible track record. So let's talk about GLP-1. So why GLP-1? We have a few activators that we've got the science for. We've had results activating our DNA, activating our cellular health. Why GLP-1 and why now? Give us your thoughts there.
So well, it's a great question, and we are why GLP-1 is because it's a household word already. And even if you're not taking the product, you know someone. And when I say the product, I'm talking about our product. I'm talking about the GLP-1 agonists out there, and there's many of them. And so 1 in 8 Americans is on it or has taken it. That's why now. But why also now is because it works. So the drugs work. Yes, they've got side effects. Yes, there's major problems that come along with them, but they work. And that's why it's a household name, because the unfortunate statistic, or fortunate for us, for business predictability as far as success is concerned, and also for our customers, is that 74% of the adult population in the United States is overweight, and 36% of them are obese, and most of them don't have answers that are long term, because Jenny Craig's been around for a long time. Weight Watchers has been around for a long time. Jack LaLanne has been around, and he's not around anymore, but he was talking about weight loss and nutrition 55 years ago. And so there's all kinds of options out there: keto, paleo. I mean, 20 years ago it was Atkins. I mean, there's so many different diets and fad diets, because for the longest time Americans have been overweight and we're looking for solutions, and GLP-1 works. So it's got a lot of notoriety, it's got a lot of attention, but it also has a lot of negative attention, deservedly so, because of the side effects. And so the company started asking itself about 2 years ago, and I wish I could say I was part of the think tank that came up with this. I was not. I was actually against it, because I didn't think there was a market for it. I didn't think anybody would. Network marketing has already been there, done that with weight loss. Why would we want to join that? Because I didn't think we were talking about an activating product. Well, until we were. And it's just, why now? Because what we have works. We've already put it to the test, and there's a tremendous market out there that want the results, but they don't want the side effects. They don't want to take shots. They don't want to have to go to a doctor to get it. They don't want to eat prepackaged food. They don't want to have to count calories. They don't want to have to worry about their willpower. And a lot of those things have been remedied by those drugs. But there's also the major, major part of it, the side effects. And so when we can offer nothing, all the benefits with none of those side effects, people lean in. And that's exactly where we are right now. And I'm so glad that the formulators and the scientific advisory board at LifeVantage thought enough to see what we could do, or what they could do. Again, I was part of the conversation afterward, but what they could do to enter into this market with an activator. Because at first is, could we possibly do this? And once they figured out they thought they could, and they started testing it on people, and the results were coming back great, and there was no fat loss, which is a major problem, or I'm sorry, no muscle loss, which is a major side effect of those drugs. People's eyebrows started to raise, and they kept putting more and more ingredients into the formula and testing it. And before you know it, we had the mind body system. And it's just incredible what people have experienced so far with the thousands of people that have been on it. But Why GLP-1? Because everybody knows about it. And why do we come out with a product now? Because we're the only activation company, and we solved the activation problem or solution with an option that is all natural. It doesn't have any of those other things that people don't want, has all the things they do want, and here we are. So that's why. It's
Yeah.
just timeliness.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a global problem. We have the solution here in spades. So, what is GLP-1? And is it just something that's found in the gut? Can you expand on what is GLP-1 and how does our mind-body GLP-1 stand apart from other products in weight loss?
Oh, great question, Sarah. So GLP-1 is a hormone that your body releases, that is released by what are called the L cells of the lower intestines after you eat something. So after you eat and you've got food in your stomach and the walls of your stomach stretch, they send signal to, or the stomach knows the stomach knows it's about to empty its contents. The intestines know it's coming, but they don't really know what to do with it. So they send a signal into the bloodstream. They release GLP-1 into the bloodstream, which tells the pancreas to produce insulin so that whatever the stomach is going to release, we can be absorbed by the rest of our body that needs it. So it's the hunger hormone, or the hormone that's released after we eat food, released by the L cells into the blood supply, triggering the pancreas to release insulin. And then once we've eaten enough to sustain us, then it sends the signal to the brain to stop the hunger signal. And so the hunger signal, when functioning normally, I would kind of think of GLP-1 as the quarterback. So it's the quarterback in the play, and the play is to score. And how you score is you get enough calories and you get enough food content in your body to maintain your BMI and maintain all the normal functions of your body. The problem with it is sometimes when we eat and when we're emotional, sometimes we eat because we're visually stimulated, because we're watching something on TV and there's a commercial on for a pizza or whatever, and we get out Uber Eats and we order something that we don't need and we're not hungry, but we eat it anyway because we were visually stimulated to do so, or we're emotionally eating, and therefore that whole entire system gets broken. So that's the normal system. But GLP-1, to answer your question, Sarah, is like the quarterback in the whole relationship we have with food. It orchestrates everything else from the intestines, the pancreas, the brain, and the stomach with around food.
Now, is it something that just goes with the aging process? Does this hormone just get out of whack because we're just aging and it's tied to the aging process? Do you know much about that?
It is tied to the aging process, but it's not as much as lowering oxidative stress, mitochondria function, and sirtuin function. It's more of a lifestyle. It reduces its effectiveness and even its production at all more by our lifestyle. But yes, it is definitely influenced by aging. So somebody who eats just an incredibly clean diet, moves all the time, is properly hydrated, has the proper mindset, and does all and has a normal microbiome in their gut, even though they are aging, the GLP-1 will be influenced by it, but not nearly as much as the other activators that we have. It's more of a lifestyle problem that we have, more as opposed to aging.
Yeah, and so having these activators as part of, kind of the plan for, activating the GLP-1, are you finding, and this kind of isn't in our questions, but are you finding that, the activators along with GLP-1 is a powerful way to improve that experience?
Oh, absolutely. Kind of think of it this way. If we just using the NRF2 pathway, or lowering oxidative stress, as the foundation, the absolute bare minimum, everybody who's aging, in other words, over the age of late 20s, should be on that product just as a foundation for the rest of their life, if cellular function is what they're shooting for. Because by lowering oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days in every cell of your body, literally is giving every cell in your body 40% more efficiency. So why wouldn't everybody want that for the rest of their life? And that's just on the cellular performance issue. On the other side of that is the energy that the cells need to complete the job, not the job they started. And that's one of the problems that we have as we age, is that the cells start to do the healing process, but they don't have enough energy to fix it, or to complete the cycle. And that's a lot of things that you can see it in our skin elasticity, the color of our hair, the functionality of our organs and our systems. As we get older, they get less efficient, and it's because they run out of cellular energy. And then with sirtuin communication and NAD, those are the classic activators. And our GLP-1 is not so much in that, but the foundation of that, if we are the more of those other activators that are already in play, including collagen, which is the connective tissue that holds everything together that GLP-1 activates anyway, is the best possible scenario. And that's the thing about the study, the original study on humans, they were not activated at all. That's just the GLP-1 benefit. But when
Mm-hmm.
you throw in NRF2 activation on top of it, it increases it by 140%. That's what we were experiencing with the Club 55 and the people that came on after that. But it's to answer your question, yes, the more of our activating products that are in there as a foundation when someone starts GLP-1, it's just going to it's going to dramatically increase the effectiveness, one, of the GLP-1 system, and two, the outcome as a result.
Mm-hmm. Ah, that's awesome. So
It
if
is.
um when a customer just begins taking the GLP-1, and can you just talk about like, because we don't have a slide up or anything, like what is the system? Like just talk about the two products just for a second to set the stage. And then just share, when a customer first begins taking, this kind of duo, the system, what can they expect in their first month?
Great question. So the two products I'll start there. So we've got the MB Core, which is the capsules. Those are the two capsules to take first thing in the morning on an empty stomach with just water. What that does is it actually primes the release of GLP-1. So that gets the hormone released, and then the MB Enhance, which is it's the powder product. It's the starches. It's the bulking agents that actually enhances the benefits and the effectiveness of the GLP-1 hormone, but it's also what reprograms and re-ramps up the microbiome, the gut bacteria, gets that all working efficiently again. So the elimination process is working. Because here's one of the things: unless our elimination process is working, we're not going to lose weight. We're going to retain weight. We're going to be constipated, and there's all kinds of things. So what people can experience in their, let's just say, the first month to 6 weeks depends on five basic factors. One is hydration. Are they getting enough water into their body to allow the cells to work properly? The other is nutrition. What kind of food are they eating? Is it processed food? Is it packaged food? Is it fake food? Is it real food? Is it whole food? Is it raw? Is it organic? I mean, the better nutrients you can give yourself in the micronutrients and macronutrients category, the better cells you're going to create. The other is the mindset. Are we ready for this? Are we prepared for this? Are we going to do what it takes? And then the other is movement. Are we getting enough exercise? Because exercise is incredibly important overall, the outcome of this. And then the other is, are we activated? Are we doing the things necessary to make this entire system work? And everybody starts out with all of those five variables at a different place. So it's not where everybody starts it and everybody's going to have the same experience. It is literally plausible that 100 different people start at the exact same time, have 100 completely different experiences based on those five variables, based on, are they eating good nutrition? Are they properly hydrated? Is their microbiome working? Are they eliminating properly? Is their mindset there? And are they activated in other areas? And so the more of those things are in check or in play or optimized already, the better results they're going to have. But everybody still has to adapt to it. So it's going to, I mean, I'll kind of give you the spectrum. Some people lose weight right away. Some people don't lose weight at all. Some people gain weight. Some people start to feel fantastic. They sleep better. They've got better mental clarity. Other people have brain fog. They can't sleep at all. They feel like crap. Their joints ache and they gain 5 pounds, all on the same product, because all of those things are finding their what is called is their normal or their homeostasis or their balance as their body is getting used to all these. And it's a whole thing in the beginning is ramping up and resetting the entire system. And sometimes people literally have to start at square one because they weren't drinking water. They were eating processed foods. They're pessimistic. They have a negative mindset. They're not moving at all. They're very sedentary and they weren't activated. That person is going to have a very different experience than somebody who's been in the company, has been on our activators and is hydrated and well and moving all the time and very active. They're going to have a completely different experience. So there isn't one size fits all, especially with an activating product like this that has five variables that go along with it. But everybody will do this. This is thing where everybody's got the same thing in common. They will adapt to what's happening so long as they stay on the product. And The other variables, as they understand them and implement them one by one, is going to ensure that their outcome is going to be there. And that's why the company just came out with, if you haven't seen this yet, it's in the hub. It's what to expect. This thing is gold. It explains in the first 4 to 6 weeks, weeks 6 through 10, weeks 10 through 14, and weeks 15 plus on what you can expect and actually what's happening. And it gives it kind of a description of everybody's experiences are going to be as unique as your fingerprints. No two people are going to have the same experience. And that's one of the things. Don't compare your results to someone else's. It's one of the worst things you can do and one of the quickest ways to get frustrated, especially if you're not having the results that someone else has that you want. Give it time. Your body takes about 12 weeks to heal from anything or to be. So if you break your arm, you skin your elbow, you cut yourself and need stitches, it's going to take 12 weeks. Give it at least 12 weeks. And that's if all those things are in place. So if not, give it longer. Give your body time to adapt. But I would start with hydration, and I'd start with good, healthy food, and I'd start with a good, positive mindset. Then, obviously activate it if you're not, and then focus on elimination and your nutrition, your gut motility or your gut-brain axis, the gut bacteria, your microbiome, hydration, and proper food is really going to set your elimination schedule and whether or not you're regular in your bowel movements, but all of that comes into play. So it's literally a five-sided equation here that every one of those things is going to be dealt with as your body heals, once it starts getting activated.
So when, as consultants, providing education, setting the proper expectations, with the brand new customer, it's going to be important for us to, find that what to expect, and share kind of the five components and really go through. And because personally, I've never really done a lot of weight loss. I've always been exercising and I haven't really owned a scale until now, so it's all kind of new. So would you recommend as sort of a problem solver, or, kind of setting the proper expectations with talking about those five key components, like as we're checking in and maybe, someone isn't excited because they might be gaining weight, like how do you recommend supporting your customers that are going through this? Is that how you're kind of handling that?
Yeah, well, how we've been handling it since we've come out with the what to expect is very different than it was before because we were kind of having to put out fires because let's just be honest, it's been marketed as a weight loss product. The
Right.
reason why people take the agonist is to lose weight or to get over their type 2 diabetes. And since we can't talk about our products as it relates to health challenges or diseases or problems, we can't mention the diabetes thing in the equation as far as our product is concerned. But most people want to lose weight. And if
Hmm.
they don't experience that right away, they start getting frustrated. So now there's a lot more understanding now that the what to expect has come out, but it's also kind of we just unfortunately we live in this microwave society. We want to
Right.
lose weight now. And if
Yeah.
somebody on Facebook who's being very public about their posts and they're showing before and after pictures and they're down 16 pounds in 3 weeks, and the person who's been on it for 3 weeks has actually gained 2 pounds, they're starting to get frustrated. I've had quite a few of those calls, but it's just be patient, give it time. That person was activated long before you were. That person's
Right.
starting at a very different place long before you were. And I said, think of it this way. If you just picked up a piano today and you've never played piano before, would you expect to play Madison Square Garden or Carnegie Hall next week? Well, no. Well, what if you found somebody who's been playing piano and they're playing at Carnegie Hall and you're like, well, I want to play there. Well, that person's been playing for a long time. They practice all the time. They just have a bigger head start than you. To be patient. And people
Yeah.
tend to really understand that. Sometimes they're kind of talking them off a ledge or this isn't working for me. The way we can get overreacted when we see someone else's response or experience that we don't necessarily have, or we're slower than they are. Give your body time. Everybody starts at a different similar or at a different equation. So give it 12 weeks minimum and even
Yeah.
beyond that. And so the average is 12 weeks. So that was the study. And the average weight loss was 25 pounds. But it was only 8 pounds in the first 9 weeks. And then the remaining weeks is when they lost most of the weight. So it's priming that system, getting momentum, getting things healing, getting things working right, and then the body starts to behave the way it's designed to, and that's where the whole GLP-1 hormone comes into play in the first place.
Yeah. And with Protandim and the NRF2 activation, we say however many decades you are on this planet, plan to take it that many months. Would that kind of follow suit with the GLP-1 as well? Have you thought about that or?
I've looked at that, and there's not enough people for me to look at because for the way I've been at least handling that question, because that's a wonderful comparison, is how long has the person in question been overweight, or will they admit that they've been overweight? If it's a decade, then I haven't been able to nail that down yet. I'm sure that as we and think about this, the reality of it, Sarah, is the majority of people have only been on this product for a little over 30 days. And so there's a lot of people with a 38-day or a 30-day experience, and there's a very small amount of people with a 12-week experience. And so we're trying to weigh all of that, and the bigger portion or the bigger data pool, which is going to be more beneficial to us, is the massive group of people that have been on it for 30 days. And now most of them, because we ran out, are in this holding period until we get it back again. So I don't
Right.
really think we're going to have a lot of these answers until we have a large group of people that have been on it 30, 60, 90, 120 days without interruption moving forward. Then we're going to have a massive data pool from which to start answering these questions and putting these comparisons, very similar to the however many decades is however many months. And we'll be able to have that a much stronger and more accurate assessment of that in probably 90 to 120 days from now, once people have been on it without interruption. And they're also starting those other activators on top of it. So
Right.
it's an answer that is being changed as we speak.
hmm Okay, fantastic. So if someone is currently taking a semaglutide or, kind of any of the prescriptions for weight loss, and they're transitioning into, taking the GLP-1 system, our mind-body system, what are you seeing for that transition? I know it's hand in hand with your doctor, and those types of things, but as far as like the hormones turning on and what people are going to see, for example, if someone is plateauing and if someone is looking to transition, is there an expectation or a way that you're kind of coaching them to integrate the new mind body?
Yeah, and I think it really just first of all identify what are their goals. Do they want to get into a certain size of clothes? Do they want to weigh a certain amount? Do they want to have a certain body fat percentage? What ultimately is the goal? Why they started the drug in the first place? And sometimes it's because they don't want to have type 2 diabetes anymore. They want to get over that. So if it's a weight concern, obesity, or being overweight or type 2 diabetes, it's an individual question for that person. And once we know it, we can help kind of navigate them through it. But here's really a question that used to come up a lot, and it still is not as much because people have started to ask it, and there's videos that people have made about it. But can I do both? And the thing is, why would you want to do both? Because one is tricking your body, the other is trying to enhance your body. And if you're tricking your body and trying to enhance it at the same time, all you're going to do is confuse it. And it would be the worst possible thing to do both at the same time. And so it's weaning off of being tricked into being optimized with the normal GLP-1 hormone. And so it's going to be different for everybody, again, based on establishing what ultimately is their goal and how close to they are they meeting their goal when this discussion gets brought up, and what ultimately are they wanting, because some people just want to lose the weight, fit into a certain size for a wedding or whatever, and then they go off of it and then they gain the weight back and they're okay with that. So that's kind of a temporary fix. Or is somebody looking for a little long-term fix, better health? They don't want to be sick anymore, they don't want to be overweight anymore, they don't want to have these achy joints anymore. So it's kind of a navigating that discussion with what is your ultimate goal. And once we've established that, then the only way to get there and sustainably get there is to optimize your body's natural function, which is what ours does and the drugs don't. So let's figure out how we can get you off of that as quickly as possible, as safely as possible. And we cannot, as consultants, tell them to get off of it or to wean themselves off of it. But what we can do is advise them and encourage them to talk with their doctor about it and tell them they want to do a more normal approach and what would be the best way to wean off of this. And what we've seen and what people have done is like a half of their, and I'm not giving any advice for people. This is just what I've witnessed and what people have done successfully. By all means, by no means is this my advice, but they'll half of the drug, a full dose of ours for a week, And then the following week, go a quarter of the dose of the medication, a full dose of ours. And I'm saying full dose, meaning the 2 capsules. And sometimes people, depending upon their sensitivity to fiber and how whether or not their intestines are ready for fiber or not, and how well they're hydrated, sometimes start them off on 2 scoops, one in the morning, one in the evening, work their way into 4, which is the ultimate dose. And then that third week, go to like an eighth of it. And then the fourth week, just wean themselves off. A few people have done that successfully. They're having great results with it. And that was their choice. I don't know if they follow their doctor's orders on that, but for somebody who's being prescribed it, I would certainly want to have them or encourage them to talk with their doctor how to get off of it with the ultimate objective to go reprime and rebuild the body's natural production of the GLP-1 hormone and the relationship with food, which is the only way to do it long term anyway.
And I would imagine coming off of something prescription like and how you're feeling, or maybe the side effects, and then moving into something all natural, the body probably has to take a little bit of time to calibrate and, for it to start kicking in and doing what it naturally does too. So I'm sure there's some of that. And then, okay, question I'm getting all the time. Am I going to be taking this forever, Dr. Nettles? How do you answer this question? And the one that kind of piggybacks on that one is, am I going to be gaining my weight back when I stop? And are those routines and everything going to stay in play? So I'm just curious your thoughts on that question.
It's a great question, and it's a very, very, very common question. And I think kind of back to what I was saying earlier, the more data we have for a prolonged period of time with people taking the products uninterrupted, the more I think closely and more accurately we're going to answer that question. However, the way I'm answering it now is Marcy and I have been doing it, and I'm answering for Marcy and I the conclusion that we've come to, and until further notice, what our objective is going to be moving forward, is that we've been intermittent fasting for probably 6 or 7 years. And we have 2 meals a day primarily. We eat really clean, but prior to the MB system, we would snack. And for me, it would be like celery sticks and peanut butter or gluten-free crackers and cheese or something like that, or popcorn. We love Amish popcorn. And so it's the snacking that is the craving. So even though we ate 2 meals and then about 2 hours after our evening meal, that hunger, that craving, that food noise kicks in. Even though we were eating good, we put on 15 to 20 vanity pounds. And that was the pattern. And so if we go off of that, off of the MB system, my assumption is those patterns are going to return. And I'm so glad, and I know Marcy is too, that we don't have the food cravings anymore. We don't, our pantry's not calling us. The celery's not calling us. The peanut butter and the popcorn's not calling us. And so when we're not having those cravings because we're on the products right now, and the other thing that is probably the most amazing that neither one of us saw coming was the food that we're no longer eating by far absorbs the cost of the product. So we're actually probably saving money on groceries while we're on the product, and that's after our product is paid for. And we certainly feel better, we look better, people are complimenting us where they weren't before, and all of those things are because of the MB system. So I don't anticipate going off of it unless and corporate hasn't answered that question yet either. So I'm just based on my own experience. I don't want to go back to the snacking and the cravings because some of that was difficult. Obviously, now some people with a lot of willpower can say, you know what, I have the solution on that. Well, that's awesome. Right now, we don't have to worry about willpower because we don't have the cravings. I'm happier with that than going, crap, do we want? And we would literally, Marcy and I would go, do we want to make some peanut butter and celery? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? And we'd have that conversation for like 15 minutes until one of us just got up and went and made it. And I'm so looking forward to not ever having those conversations again. So my answer right now, until we know more, is I don't ever see myself getting off this product. And I know Marcy doesn't either.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Fair.
I think people that when they go off of it, could they gain their weight back? It depends on do they go back to their habits, because this doesn't reset the habits. This reprograms your GLP-1 and your relationship with food. And if you stop the product, that process will also stop and you'll probably go right back to the same old lifestyle. So I would assume, like every other quote unquote diet, that if you go off it, you're probably going to go back to the same results. But this is not a diet. This is a reprogramming, to your point, a reprogramming of the entire system that controls our relationship with food. And the way I'm feeling on this now, I don't want to go back to the old way.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. So last question, and then we'll get to our little panel. Being part of the Science Advisory Board and, your all of your years with LifeVantage, and all that's coming down the pike, right? There's a lot coming down. I'm sure, we don't even know the half of it, here in the field. But what gets you the most excited about where LifeVantage is going right now?
Great question. And I would say it's kind of threefold. One is that our commitment to activation. So we are constantly looking for ways that we can activate human pathways that have gotten inefficient or somewhat dormant as we age. Age-related pathways that at one time work normally, and as we age, they get less and less efficient. So we are committed to coming out with additional activating products. That's the first thing. The other, with our current products, reformulating, changing out ingredients over then this process started about 2 years ago. It was a 4-year initiative to take all unnecessary fillers, excipients, and products that are not or that on somebody's radar, as many as we possibly can, out of our products and replace them with much more green and sustainable ingredients so that we are the activation company, but we can proudly say we're also an all natural product company, and wellness is our business. And with some questionable ingredients in some of the products that we've had for for a long time. And this is one of the struggles, I would say, or challenges, probably a better word, of when you have turnover at the corporate level in C-suite positions where they typically come with a team, and that team will have a vision, and they'll have their ideas and how they're going to formulate products. And then that regime or that team is no longer there. A new team comes in, and they can look at it from a different view. They can come in with unbiased eyes and say, well, that's a great product, but we could take and that out of it and replace it with this, and this. And that was a 4-year initiative. We're about 2 years into that. That's the second thing I'm really, really excited about. And the other is just being the place I would say our quest is to be the most un-network marketing like network marketing company, where there's culture, there's community, there's teamwork, cross-line teamwork, which is very, very rare in this industry. And at a company that does things by the book. We cross the T's, we dot the I's, we're transparent, we're backed by science, and not just conjecture and opinion, but published research. No other company can say that. So we want to continue that, but we want to double and triple down on that and be the company that if people are looking for a home in this industry, that they find it here. That's really what we want to have the most appealing company from every possible way you could scrutinize a network marketing opportunity, especially relationships in the field, the integrity of the products and the ingredients, and the potential for growth around the world as far as what our products do and what they will continue to do. And I don't think there's a better company out there that represents all of that than LifeVantage, and that is definitely our quest. So activating products, cleaning up the ones with products that we have in that initiative, and then just being for the home for scrutinizing people that know what they're looking for and what they want and what they don't like in the rest of the industry. I think we're very appealing for people in that regard. So those are my three favorite things about being one part of the scientific advisory board, but just being a consultant with LifeVantage that gets me excited and makes me really, if I had it all to do over again, I would have done it. I wouldn't have been so rude to Dr. McCord.
I'm sure he forgives you. Here you are
Oh yeah.
today. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Let's hear it for Dr. Nettles. Throw some love in the chat. Let him know, that, how just awesome this was tonight. And I'm just going to go ahead. Please feel free to stick around, Dr. Nettles, and tune in to our panel here. Not even our panel, but we're going to hear from a couple of healthcare professionals and really kind of get their take on activation in the GLP-1 as it pertains to them and their practices. So I'm going to go ahead and take us off a spotlight so we can see everyone that is on screen, on camera tonight. And the first person I want to introduce, and again, we're just going to hear from a couple of healthcare professionals tonight that are currently on our team that have a lot of experience. And I'm really excited to bring Dr. Ron Nathanson. If if you could go ahead and unmute. Dr. Ron, let
Hey,
us know where you're coming in from, what your background is, kind of what you do for work, and kind of your take on activation in the GLP-1 wherever you see fit, because I think your
okay.
experience is really pretty powerful. So take it away.
All right. So my name is Dr. Ron Nathanson. I'm practicing for 25 years. I'm a chiropractor, but I do a lot of neurofeedback as well. And what I see with this GLP-1 system beyond the weight loss conversation, there's another conversation that's really amazing is that it's also helping people sleep a lot deeper. And I'm seeing people's brain maps responding faster. Incredible brain map result. I have two people who've been doing this for a month. We just did a brain map on one of them and massive changes a lot faster. Again, things are when the brain's not feeling it, all the extra weight, all the sugar that's going into the body, it's storing, it's stopping inflammation. That inflammation is going to allow a brain to heal a lot faster. So I'm expecting more and more people to do a lot better with this. It's not just, like I said, it's not just a weight loss product. When the body sleeps, the body heals more effectively. And what I notice the most is that people are a lot happier on the product. I have three current patients that are doing brain mapping and under care that are on the GLP system. They're walking in my office. You would never know that they had any issues around depression or anxiety. They're a lot happier. So that's what I'm noticing. Of course, weight loss makes people happy, but one of those patients hasn't lost much weight, but her brain map has really, she's the one that brain map drastically improved. So I think this product's amazing. I love this company, what it does. And beyond just the GLP system, if you're, a tri-synergizer and also collagen are really big game movers in brainwave activity as well. So is Axio. So it works great for my practice.
That's awesome. You get to track it all. So thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate you. We're going to send this over to Dr. Dan Zhao. Go ahead, Dr. Dan, take it away.
Thank you, Sarah. My name is Dr. Daniel. I'm an energy healer. I've been practicing for the past 12 years. Before that, I'm a former engineering professor and IT project manager. So I come to you from South Florida. What I love about this company, why I say yes to this particular product, I've actually never endorsed any product. I didn't even use any product myself before like Vantage. What I love about that is it goes right along with the energy healing. It gets to the root of the problem and cuts through all the chase and just really work on bringing the balance to through through the cellular activation. It's the same along the line of energy will bring energy into balance. This is the exact same thing. And from a business perspective, for me personally, being an energy healer, I walked away from the well-paying IT job. I walked myself into a corner with no pathway to retirement. So I like the fact that I can actually work with the team, bring the same team aspect back, but rectify the financial decisions of me walking into being a healer because I love that. I have no regret of doing that. What I've seen with the GLP-1, first thing first, I don't need to lose any weight. I love what it has done for me. I had a car accident 6 months ago. I was struggling with sleep deeply because there was some nerve damage in the neck area caused the disturbance. GLP-1 is the only thing that has been able to allow me to go to sleep. So I actually have extra cells. My GLP-1 intake is not interrupted because if that happens, this household is not going to be happy. So one thing that my healer being on the GLP-1, we all report we are so much calmer, we're so much more grounded. It's like that contentment, that sense of being really supported by life. And this is like the first time me personally feel that life is really for me. There's nothing to worry about. So I look at that from the hormone perspective. The cortisol is the fight and flight. The hormone is the life protecting one. When it goes out of control, it just fight. We want to fight all the time. The GLP-1 is this life-giving hormone. When we are nourished, when we are properly nurtured, we naturally get back into that calm, grounded, nurturing state. So thank you.
Wow. That was awesome. Thank you, Dr. Dan. Amazing. All right, Dr. Pat Bona, come off mute and share with us.
Hi, I'm Dr. Pat Bona, and I am a human and animal chiropractor. I've been with LifeVantage for about 2.5 years, as well as my mother's been participating. I've always said she's my science experiment, and we're so close genetically. It's been a great run. I'm here in Ocala, Florida with her. So I'm just thrilled to share, pardon me, what I've seen with her. And she was on it. She started on it on the Monday when we came back from Kansas City, and so she was on it for about 5 days. And I adjust her, but within the first day, she had more energy, and I had more energy. And noticed also that, which is what I wanted, was that mental effects, and truly, like, her ability to speak was a little bit clearer. When she focuses and has intellectual conversation, there's nothing stopping her. But in sundry times of talking and stuff, she'd get a little tongue tied. And that quickly changed. And for me too. And the clarity of focus has changed, and the calmness very, very quickly over those days. But the exciting thing is, my mother is 93 years old, and her spine essentially has been very rigid. And I'd say in the past few years, kind of fused. So her muscles are very tight when I go to work on her, and not a lot of range of motion. She's very active and sound, but that's been the issue. So when I went to put my hands on her the night before I drove home, her muscles were softer and her joints were more flexible than they have been in like 30 years of me being a chiropractor. This is not just mind body. I say it's seriously mind blowing. She fell and dislocated her shoulder a couple of years ago. They weren't able to put it in place right away. So it's essentially like a frozen shoulder that started to release. We're talking like popping, cracking, release, and I could get distraction, range of motion, phenomenal. Fast forward another like 35 days or so, I'm back here again, and I get to work on her, of course, and she's even better. Her ability to lie flat on her stomach, she would be painful because she has adhesions from abdominal surgeries over the years, and she has a tendency to form keloids, which are very thick scarring on the outside of her body that you can see, but that's going to affect the adhesions on the inside. No problems lying on her stomach. In fact, she said she was more comfortable on her stomach than her back, but rolling over and lying there, no problems at all, perfectly comfortable. And her joints are even that much more flexible. Things are popping, cracking, moving. An area in the front of her spine, her on her right side of her neck, working on it and getting it to flex. I don't think I've ever felt that, be able to flex and go into good lateral bending. And the sound that came out, it was like boom, like joints just releasing. 93 years old. And in the interim, when I've had patients, I've had a few patients be able to start in the system too. I've noticed the same thing with the ones who are very tight jointed and stuff, that the joints are releasing. When I'm getting adjusted, I'm not nearly as sore. So it's that whole decreasing the inflammation in the body, but that literally, like, the deeper soft tissue and connective tissue in the body is releasing and recovering and repairing is really mind blowing.
Wow.
I know.
Thank you. Seriously, thank you, Dr. Ron, Dr. Pat, Dr. Dan. Amazing, amazing shares. I just really appreciate this call tonight. I appreciate the wisdom that you brought, Dr. Nettles. Thank you for, addressing like a lot of the questions that many of us here have had around the GLP-1. What makes it different? How to kind of problem solve with our customers and really. We are pioneering. We are the pioneers right now of the very first, GLP-1 activation system that's natural. So kudos to everyone who has taken this on as part of their purpose and passion. I know it's part of ours. I've never been sleeping better. I've had incredible focus. I've lost 12 pounds in in the last, 40 days or so, 9.85 inches. And I feel like I'm just beginning, but I love how I feel. I love that I feel it's like I can feel my gut healing. It's just so exciting that we can bring this to the world and happy that we can do it together. So again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We're going to wrap this call and make it a great week. Get out there and certainly guest if you're on here. If you have questions, get back to the person who invited you, get them answered, and certainly give it a whirl. It is just mind blowing. So thanks again, everyone. Have a fantastic night.